Hi everyone, this is Heather Lattinen from the Flourish.Academy. I'm joined by my good friend and co-host Mara Chick. Hey, Mara.
Hi. Hey, what's up?
Okay, so in this episode we're going to do something completely different because we have something very personal we need to share. So we're not covering a book today, but we're going to get really raw in this episode. And
There's going to be tears.
There are going to be a lot of tears. So
Excuse me, I'll get like high-pitched trying to stop the crying, but...
Maybe watch the video so you can see. But there will be a lot of tears, so you might want to grab some Kleenex because we have a lot of very serious things to discuss. And when you're ready, I would like to hear.
So, a couple weeks ago,
so this is very recent.
Very, very recent for us. So please excuse me when you start the next book, the next podcast episode. You'll probably be able to sense it in my voice, but a couple weeks ago, my mom was out shopping by herself, and everything was fine. She wasn't sick. I just saw her 2 days ago. I was texting her the day before this. It was a Saturday, so I was texting her on Friday. Like, everything was fine. My mom is like my best friend. I love that woman. Like, you would not believe. She's like the light of my life. Funny.
A small, petite woman with a lot of force.
Yeah.
A lot of force.
I said, yeah, God put a mighty spirit in a petite frame. So my mom was out shopping and she collapsed while she was out. They rushed her to the hospital and did a scan and found that she had a brain bleed. It was an aneurysm, and they life-flighted her to the hospital in the city, which is, hospital is only like 20 minutes away by a car ride, so it's pretty bad when they're life-flighting you. And I remember getting in the car when my stepdad called me, and my husband was driving, and I just said, please, not my mom, I'm not ready for my mom. So the doctors came out to talk to us, and they said, she had a brain aneurysm. It was very severe. And she's likely not to survive this.
They grade them.
And they grade from 1 to 5, 1 being the best, 5 being the worst, and she was a grade 5. And when a doctor says, like, she's not going to survive this, the whole world is like, what do you mean? Like, I literally was just talking to her. She's fine.
It was so sudden.
It's just out of nowhere. Your whole life changed. And, I kept sitting there in the chair thinking, oh, not my mom. My mom's stronger than this. And so they had to put some drains in her head. She never regained consciousness, so she was basically unconscious, but they had, medically sedated her. They did an angiogram to coil up the aneurysm to stop the bleeding, and they put 12 coils in her aneurysm, which means it's a pretty big aneurysm. And she was in the hospital for a week, and every scan they did showed no brain activity.
When it first happened and you go in on that Saturday, she's life-flighted and they tell you this. And by the way, we were in contact, and when you're telling me this, I'm thinking, okay, she had a stroke. Right. And my mom had a stroke. She's going to be okay.
She'll be okay.
It's going to be fine. There might be some recovery. Right. The brain bleed, it can right. Yes. You can overcome it. But then he starts talking aneurysm and this grading, and you were telling me this. But at this point, say Saturday into Sunday,
I still felt like, okay, maybe she could come through this, and it would just be a long, long recovery. And so I felt like there was maybe hope. They just wanted a status quo day. Their day, we're just going to stop the bleeding and see what happens. What tends to happen, I guess, I've learned a lot about the brain and aneurysms. When the head fills with blood, the brain just kind of pushes down, and then your brainstem kind of gets disconnected and compressed, all that kind of stuff. So, they said we need to keep, the swelling down for 24 hours. Then we can start to test like what her brain function is. And she had breathing tubes, everything. Like, when you see your mom like that, you walk into a hospital room and her head's shaved and drains are coming out, and It's not something you ever really prepare for. See,
No,
there
you
goes the high pitch.
You just can't even imagine it.
So-
When I walked in to see her, when she had shaved her head, I said, Karen, listen, you better wake up. You're going to be PO'd about your hair.
You don't have a lot of hair to begin with. So
They shaved your
They
head.
shaved her head. They did more brain scans on Monday. But I could tell...
At that point, you felt
I
like
kind of knew. I think, my family was not ready, but I just kind of felt like in my heart, like, and I told you this. I said, God, I just keep saying, God, prepare me for whatever is next. And what's next is a life without my mom. And, she was on life support, essentially, and so we knew that she did not want to live like that. She had to make a very similar decision with our mom. So we all knew her wishes. And after a week of trying and giving her time, the doctors were very adamant that they've done everything they can. And with a grade 5, this is... grade 5 aneurysms usually don't even make it to the hospital. They're the ones that just drop dead wherever they are. So, I'm lucky to have, even though she wasn't conscious, I'm sure she could hear me, but I just kept, holding her hand and rubbing her skin because I wanted to remember how she felt, It's heartbreaking.
And I remember you telling her, when I walked in, you said, Mom, we can do hard things.
We can do hard
We
things.
can do hard things, because we had talked about we can do hard things.
I just kept saying hard things are her thing. My mom has been through a lot
She's
in her
so
life.
tough, right?
And she's the strongest woman I know. And I just, we can do it together. Whatever it is, we can face it together. And it just wasn't meant to be. And that's okay. I don't think she would have wanted some long drawn out illness, but I feel like I wish I would have had a little time. I mean, the great thing about me is that I always let people know how much they mean to me. And so my mom knew, because I would tell her every time we were together how much I loved her and how much she meant to me and how much I looked up to her. She was so strong. And, so I knew how much she loved me and she knew how much I loved her. But you think, if it's the last time you're going to see somebody,
It would be different. You would say something.
I would hug a little longer.
And not let go.
To giving her a kiss and...
But
just
she
made
knew.
sure she knew. But, so, anyway, we had to, we made the decision to turn off life support to respect her wishes, and said goodbye. And, it was the hardest thing I think I've ever had to do in my life.
The hardest day of your life.
To sit there and just watch your mom take her last breath. It's traumatizing, and, it changes you, and I just feel like my heart is broken.
And you'll never be the same.
I don't think I'll ever be the same. My mom was so special to me. And I have great memories of her and great pictures and awesome videos. But to think about not hearing that voice again, I call myself an emotional cutter because I just a couple days ago started listening to her old voicemails. She's always cute. She had these long pauses she'd put in voicemails, and you'd think she's done and she just forgot to hang up the phone, but it would be like, "Hey, Mara." And I'm like, okay. This is your mom. I'm like, yeah, I get that. So she'd be like, "I want to talk to you right now, so you pick up the phone."
It's almost like, I know
like,
she knew it was a voicemail, but it's
but she thinks she's talking to you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so I'm getting ready to hit end or stop the voicemail, and she's like, "Okay, so call me back." Like a 30-second pause. I'm like, "Get on with it, Mom." Okay, but then she'd call. Sometimes she'd call the Pics by Chicks line. And, me being professional, I pick up the phone and say, "Pics by Chicks Photography, this is Mara." And she goes, "I want one of those booty shoots." And I'm like, "Mom, this is real business, Mom." So she was always trying to make me laugh, and she's so funny. Like one of the funniest women I know.
Yeah.
And, you know, she didn't take herself too seriously. She loved to laugh. Like
Yeah.
she knew how to live her life. And I'm very grateful for that. So I have really awesome stories of her, and it's something I'm happy to have. But, you know, you always want more. Selfishly, you're like,
It's not enough.
just a little more time. I'm not ready.
No.
And I know there are people that lose their parents much younger than me.
But no one's ever ready. I mean,
I don't think you're ever ready for, like, and especially the suddenness of everything. Just, like, one day it's fine, and then the next day your whole life is different. So, yeah, I'm really struggling right now, to be honest with you. It's not an easy thing to go back to work after something like this happens. I took 2 weeks off, and you feel guilty when you start working again, because you're like, am I moving on, like, from my mom? I don't want to forget her. But then she's always there, and it's just hard. And my house is like a shrine to my mom right now. There's pictures everywhere. And as much as I love those beautiful photos, they make me a little sad, too, because I see that laugh and that smile and just, I just miss it so much.
We should talk about those photos, because you were wise enough to schedule a photo session with you and your mom with a friend of
Yes.
ours, Karen, and you had done that. When was that session?
That was May.
It was May.
And my mom was gone by the end of August. So 3.5 months later. And I remember thinking, I said to Karen when I booked, I said, you know, and I've said this to you too, you know, I feel really bad if something happened to my mom and we didn't have beautiful photos together.
Thank goodness.
And thank goodness I just said, and you know, all of you people that out there that are like, I'm too heavy, I don't look right, I'm not skinny enough, I don't want to be in the photos. You gotta get in the photos, because that's all people will have left of you. I would have been devastated if I would not have done that photo shoot. And she had so much fun that day, getting her makeup done and her hair and getting fake lashes. And she's like, what do I do with these?
Oh, I bet she was a riot.
We had so much fun. And, you know, and it's about that shared experience too. We talk about this all the time in the podcast, is creating these experiences for clients. And so sharing that with her was amazing. Having the photos are something I will treasure for the rest of my life. So you guys got to get in front of the camera. I mean, it's not good enough just to exist. You got to exist in photos, you know? So, and this is what I say to my boudoir clients when they're like, oh gosh, I have to lose like 30 pounds. And I'm like, what does it matter? Is it really going to make or break you? No. Just get in front of the camera. It doesn't matter.
And somebody loves you and wants to see you in the photo.
Yes.
And you're not guaranteed tomorrow.
So, yeah, I'm just struggling, Heather.
I know. This has been so hard.
I'm trying to push through, and I just say one foot in front of the other. That's all I'm focused on.
One day at a time.
And, you know, people ask me how I'm doing, and I honestly don't know how to answer that question. Our producer saw me today, and she said, oh, hi, Mara, how are you doing? And gave me a hug, and I said, I don't know how to answer that. So if I say that to you, it's legitimately, I don't.
It's because I'm terrible.
And if I'm laughing, it doesn't mean I'm feeling better. It's just, the sadness is so innate in me right now. And when she first passed, I was like, God, I feel so dead inside. Like, people die of a broken heart. Like, I can feel why they do. It's just so painful. So yeah. So you might sense a little different attitude from Mara in the next couple of episodes. And I just wanted to prepare you guys for that. Heather and I didn't think we could, not acknowledge what happened. Because this is one of my moments in life, and this is going to be a defining moment.
Yeah. Next week in the podcast, we're getting into defining moments, and this is
a what we call a pit moment.
a pit.
One of those moments that, you know, it's a big life-changing moment. It's not a positive thing, but they're kind of the moments you want to forget. But you know,
but
by the grace of God, I'm going to get through it, and I will come out a stronger woman, because that's what my mom would have wanted. I don't think she would have wanted someone just to stay in bed all day. And that's the hard part, is pushing yourself to get out of bed when you just want to stay there. And how do I keep posing women when I'm like, I don't care if you push your hip out or not. My mother's dead. How do you... So, that's a struggle when you have, and it's not like, I've said this to a lot of people, it's not like I have a desk job. I can't just sit there in the corner and cry and do my work.
Or take off an extended period of time.
Yes.
It's not like you can say, hey, I need to take short-term disability. Can I have 6 weeks off because I need to mourn?
There's no such thing.
There's no such thing because when we don't work.
I don't get paid. So, and I stayed in Pittsburgh in the city for the whole week. So it's like I was in a hotel room. So there's all these extra expenses from, being there with my mom. And I got to work. Mara needs to pay her mortgage. So I have to work. But it's a struggle to get up and do it and push forward. My clients have been very compassionate and understanding, and I'm very thankful for that. I have great women that support me, and my husband is an amazing man. He walked up to my mother's casket before we said our final goodbye before the funeral, and he said, "Don't worry, Grams." We call my mom Grams. "Don't worry, Grams. I'll take care of her." Oh, God bless Tony. He's a real jackass sometimes, but other times he's super sweet. I am thankful for the time I had with my mom. And I don't have many regrets. But I just want her back.
So it's not that you would have done anything differently, because you always do a great job at making sure people know how you feel.
Thank you.
Thank goodness, right? So no regrets
No
in that
regrets.
regard. Just wishing you had more time.
Time is never on your side,
No.
and you really don't. That's the thing as a business owner, you don't plan for stuff like this to happen. And, let's be honest, because this is like a business podcast. I had one client who, wanted a refund on her session fee because I couldn't be there for her, which is fine. I know she wanted to do her boudoir shoot as a wedding gift. So I said, that's fine. I'll gladly refund you. So, it's hard to take time off, still figure out a way to make money, even though you have expenses coming out the wazoo for everything. And, funeral flowers are not expensive.
I remember you said, how much funeral flowers cost.
Like $630 on flowers. But so, part of me wants to look at, like, what would I change? Like, I would change maybe trying to find some, like, not disability, but like something that could cover me in the case. Like, what does Aflac do? I don't know what they do, but
some type of insurance.
Some type of insurance where, like, I have to take some time off, and maybe I could find something. But I don't know how you prepare for tragedy.
I don't.
And that's what this is. This is super tragic for me,
and very, very sudden and tragic and unexpected, which makes it all the more shocking and painful.
Yeah. There goes all my nice makeup.
Yeah. Makeup looks so beautiful for the podcast. And I bet that happens to you often these days.
Yes. This is why if you see me out and about, Mara out in the wild, I probably don't have makeup on because it doesn't last too long.
Out in the wild.
You're like, wow, she's really struggling with her mother's death.
Well, it's been very new.
Yeah.
So as of this recording, it's been a week since her funeral.
It's been a week and a half since her funeral. Yeah.
So it's very, very fresh and raw and new. And I mean, I just don't even know what to say.
I know. There's not much you can say. And everything you would say would be a lie. Things aren't going to be okay.
You're going to live?
I'm going to live, and I'll get by. I'll be a different person. Like, this is something that changes you. As much as my heart breaks for me and my sisters and my stepdad loved my mom, worshiped the ground she walked on, and I worry about him. My nieces and nephews are really missing their grandmother right now.
It's harder for them to understand and make sense of.
Yes. And just seeing them cry at the funeral home and just, the 10-year-old said to me, we went back to my stepdad's house after the viewing, and he was just sitting there crying, and I just went over and held him, and I said, it's okay. We're going to get by. We're strong. We're going to do this together. And he said, it's just no fun without her here. And then I'm trying to be the strong one, and he's breaking my heart all over again. And I was like, oh, God, Megan, get your son. But, we're all just trying to get by. I got this book that was recommended to me called Healing After Loss, which is just like a little daily devotional that you read. And it's been eye-opening. Some of the things are like, death is exhausting, grieving is exhausting. And, last week I told you I slept until 11 a.m. one day, just straight. My body was just done. And then I was feeling a little fuzzy in the head, and I'm like, I'm just going to go lay down. That was 4:00. So I was up for 5 hours, and I slept until 7 p.m. So I took a 3-hour nap. I basically slept an entire day. But so the book is giving me these little things, like it's exhausting. So listen to your body. And, I'm also an emotional eater. So it's like I'm shoving all the food in my mouth. That sleeve of Thin Mints tasted real good the other night. So, I have to be aware of that kind of stuff, because it's just, I'm trying to fill this big void right now. And
there aren't enough Thin Mints to do that.
No, there aren't. So thank you for being a good friend to me.
Oh my gosh.
You have been so supportive. Heather came to the hospital and the day after my mom collapsed and just sat there with me for a few hours. She got to see the comedy show that is my aunt's. And, and she came back and prayed with my mom, and it just meant the world to me to have you there. So thank you. I know that you would try to fix it if you could, and you can't, but you just feel like your heart's gonna rip right out of your chest, and like you can't breathe sometimes. Man, this is a lot of crying for one episode.
It was very.
It's just
very hard. Very hard.
And,
it's very hard to see you go through this. As a friend, I wish there was more I could do for you.
I know.
But I can't.
I know.
Except walk with you through this season.
Thank you.
And it's gonna suck.
It's gonna suck real hard.
It's gonna be really
I'm not looking
hard.
forward to Christmas. Like,
No.
I spoiled my mother at Christmas. She was like, I shopped more for her than I did for my husband. Sorry, Tony, if
Yeah.
you're listening. But he already knows that. I spoiled my mom. Like, she spoiled us when we were kids. Like, she made sure Christmas was everything, which is probably why I love Christmas so much. So all I tried to do was just make her feel the way she made us feel.
And you do that for others. You know that? You do that for others. You make people feel very special. And you'll have to continue that at Christmas in her honor. And I think we talked about building a new wing on your house in honor of Karen.
Karen McCarl Fox wing. So it's I wish I could tell you I had answers as a business owner, how you get through tragedy.
Right. What's our strategy?
What's our strategy for this? Tell your mom you love her. Seriously, please don't let a moment go by without telling people how much they mean to you. Even if it's just today. You never know when it's your last, and those people might need to hear it. It might be the one thing that gets them through their day. It's the biggest lesson out of this that I could share with people. And I always, like, when Tony and I would argue and stuff, and because I've always been this way, it's just been in me. When Tony leaves the house after, like, we argue or something, he'll go to work the next day or something. I'm like, oh man, what if he dies?
Yeah.
Like, I would feel terrible if that was the last thing I said to him. So I'll, like, text him or call him and be like, I love you. I just want you to know, like, I know we're arguing right now, but it doesn't matter what's happening. I still love you. So how do you get through tragedy as a business owner? One foot in front of the other. And if your clients can't understand what you're going through, then they're not the clients for you.
Yeah.
And, my clients have been so awesome and amazing. And, you matter. Like, we matter as individuals. We are business owners, entrepreneurs, mentors, but we are also people.
People with lives and families.
Yes. And this stuff that happens to you happens to us too. So it's very important to take care of yourself and your family. Don't forget how important they are. We work so hard that we tend to put our families and our personal lives aside. And that is not what you want to do. So take the time, build the margin in your schedule.
Spend time with your family.
And do it all in Karen's memory.
Thank you so much for sharing this with us. I know this was incredibly difficult. We appreciate your honesty, your rawness, your emotion. And
don't make me cry anymore.
that's going to be impossible.
That is not going to be possible for the next few years.
And we're just going to keep praying
we'll get through it.
That you'll get through it.
Thanks for all your support, Heather.
Thank
I love you.
I love you.